I still remember that morning as if it were yesterday. I was in the kitchen, pouring myself a cup of coffee, half-calf with oat milk, when Noah, my cousin and heir apparent to the family estate, strolled in without so much as a greeting. He didn't smile. He didn't nod. He just leaned against the counter, stared at me, and said, "You're just a burden on everyone now. Get out of my sight." His words hit me like a slap. Then he turned and walked away, leaving me with the hiss of the coffee maker. I blinked, waiting for a punchline that never came. In that silent kitchen, my heart pounded, but instead of screaming or running, I did, something I never thought I could. I smiled, a slow, deliberate smile that tasted of bitter iron. Then I shut off the coffee maker, picked up my mug, and walked out of that kitchen as if I owned every tile beneath my feet. Only inside, my hands were shaking and my chest felt like it might cave in. I tried to shake off the tension on the 10-minute drive home, but memories flooded every red light. 11 years I had poured myself into this family legacy. Late nights, drafting projections, weekends at site visits, holidays sacrificed for urgent deals. I'd even missed birthdays the year my marriage collapsed. Now I was a burden. My throat burned with fresh tears, but I refused to let them fall. Instead, I focused on breathing as I pulled into my driveway. Inside, I sank onto the couch, coffee gone cold, the house smelling like vanilla candles from my sister's last visit. I wanted to scream into the emptiness. I'm not a burden. But I knew I had to stay in control. Anger could come later. For now, I was stunned. Why? Would Noah do this? We were about to close the largest land sale in company history, a joint venture with a major developer in Dubai. I had spent 8 months on that deal, memorizing every clause, and had scheduled the final walkthrough for Thursday. And now Noah had cut me out. Had he even read the trust document that named me the sole signatory? I wasn't sure, but one thing was clear. My removal could unravel everything. I barely slept that night. My mind replayed every conversation with Noah. The time he said I was too old-fashioned. The time he told Uncle that Mom's way was antiquated. And now, this, an outright dismissal without explanation. But beneath the hurt, a new thought took shape. This timing felt deliberate. We were on the brink of that Dubai sale. If Noah hadn't read the clause naming me sole negotiator, he'd painted us into a corner. Betrayal twisted into something else. Control. Noah had triggered a trap he didn't even see. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, knowing that tomorrow, everything would change. Just after 8:45 a.m., my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I finally pressed answer. "Lena," said a familiar voice. Our grandfather, head of the family, patriarch of the business he built from scratch. "It's Papa. Why aren't you at the estate?" My chest tightened. He was the one who'd shown me ledgers at 14 and trusted me to run regional accounts by 25. "Papa," I whispered. Noah dismissed me yesterday." A long pause. I could almost hear him breathing. "He called you useless? Dismissed you?" "Yes." "Did he read the trust agreement, the one after the Solara acquisition debacle?" I frowned. "He had full control," I said. "But you made me sole signatory for the Dubai venture. Did Noah read that clause before cutting me out?" I realized he hadn't. My breath caught. The entire sale hinged on my signature. Without me, it would collapse. Betrayal gave way to resolve. Papa hung up, and I sat motionless, coffee cold beside me, staring at nothing. 11 years of sweat, and Noah's arrogance hadn't seen the clause. I let out a bitter laugh. I wasn't angry, yet. I was curious how far he'd go before realizing his mistake. By 9:15 a.m., Noah called. I let it ring. A text followed. Lena, please come back today. We need you. It's urgent. Urgent, I thought, turning the word over like a stone. He hadn't apologized. Panic in place of remorse. I took a deep breath and didn't reply. At 9:42, there was a knock. It was Cal, my longtime friend and former legal counsel. His face was pale. Lena, I'm sorry to barge in, he said quietly. The estate is in chaos. Papa just confronted Noah. He nearly lost it. My chest tightened. What did Papa do? I asked. He showed Noah the trust clause. Noah tried to bluff, saying he arranged another signatory. But there isn't one. The Dubai partners are threatening to walk. Relief and adrenaline mixed in my veins. That was Noah's first crack. I didn't need to storm in. Patience was my ally. Cal hesitated. Lena, this is leverage. If you want to protect yourself in the sale, come back. On your terms. I exhaled. Thank you. I'll think about it. He nodded and left. Sunlight slanted through my window. Outside, life seemed to move on. Inside, I was in upheaval. But I held the pieces. By noon, another text from Papa. Lena, I apologize for what happened. Please come see me before doing anything. The temptation to walk in and pretend it was business as usual flickered, but I wasn't ready. Papa showed panic, but no real remorse for how easily Noah dismissed my 11 years of loyalty. I needed accountability. My reply was measured. Papa, I'll come in, but I want everything in writing. My authority over the Dubai venture. No interference from Noah. I hit send, changed out of sweats, and prepared. By 1 p.m., I drove to the estate and walked up the front drive as if I were a guest. Staff glanced up. Word had spread. I crossed my arms in the grand foyer, waiting. Seconds later, Papa emerged from the study. Solemn. He opened the French doors and gestured for me inside. I nodded but didn't offer my hand. Sunlight filtered through stained glass windows onto the Persian rug. I took a seat. He sank into his own chair and let out a tired sigh. I made a mistake, he began, giving Noah full authority before he was ready. I never expected him to behave so recklessly, to discard you without reading the trust. I stayed silent, watching him. You are not just any granddaughter, you've run our overseas operations for years. You deserve respect. His voice wavered. I read the trust again this morning. Every provision. You were sole decision maker for Dubai. Legally, no one else can sign. I exhaled, the tension loosening. Thank you, I said quietly. But words weren't enough. If I return, I continued, I want it in writing. Revised trust granting me autonomy over Dubai, and no interference from Noah. And this can't happen again. He leaned forward, eyes earnest. Done. Whatever you need, it will be met. He slid a folder across to me. Revised clauses granting me authority. I nodded. I'll return. But understand, respect must go both ways. He met my gaze and gave a solemn nod. That was enough. At 1:30 p.m., I passed Noah near the ornate staircase, arms crossed, pretending to read a document. He lifted his head, face flashing between rage and shame. I offered a polite nod, head high, and walked into the conference wing. He thought he had control yesterday. Today, it slipped like sand. By 2 p.m., the Dubai partners arrived. A team, led by Mr. Aziz, a stoic executive known to value precision and respect. They sat in the boardroom, portfolios open, translators on standby. Tension filled the air. I reviewed the final terms, delivery schedules, escrow provisions, Arabic addendum. Mr. Aziz valued trust above all. Any hint of discord would send him away. I smiled. recalling how I'd greeted him in Arabic a year ago when we closed our first mining deal. I placed the translated documents on the table and felt quiet confidence. Outside, Noah paced like a caged animal. Papa intercepted him, rising from his seat and placing a hand on Noah's shoulder. Their words were muffled, but Papa's hand rose, palm outward, silencing Noah's pleas. When Noah looked back and saw me arranging papers, his face crumpled. No longer the proud cousin, but a cornered animal. He turned away, shoulders slumped. At exactly 2:15 p.m., Mr. Aziz entered with his translator. I stood, extended my hand, and greeted him in Arabic. Mr. Aziz, welcome. It's an honor to finalize this partnership. His eyes softened, then warmed into a rare smile. You remembered, he said. Respect goes far. We sat, and for 2 hours, I navigated every clause, anticipated every question, and kept the tone collaborative but firm. When Mr. Aziz's pen sealed the multi-million-dollar venture, relief swept the room. We shook hands, exchanged blessings, and the tension dissolved into genuine congratulations. Papa approached me, face showing relief. You saved us, he said quietly. I shook my head. We saved ourselves. He placed a hand on my arm. I owe you more than an apology. I owe you this family's future. His gratitude was sincere, but I knew it wasn't just about a deal. It was about proving my worth and demanding that others finally see it. By 6 p.m., I was home, sorting emails, when I noticed something odd. Production cost reports for Dubai returned unsigned, marked with cryptic notes. Then an internal memo appeared, ostensibly from me, lobbing criticism at a regional supervisor, an accusation that made no sense. My stomach knotted. I pulled server logs and traced the email to a shared workstation in Papa's office. No way it had been me. My pulse raced. That felt like more than an error. I reported it to Cal, who confirmed someone had copied my login and spoofed my address. They'd even altered a vendor invoice with bogus bank details. The vendor caught it before wiring funds. Cal's face was grim. It's internal, he said. No external hacking. Whoever did this has access inside Papa's office. My blood ran cold, but clarity washed over me. I documented every unsigned document, every odd memo, every suspicious email. I bought a private journal, logging times, dates, and brief notes. In this world, facts outweigh feelings. Paper trails speak louder than tears. 2 days later, just as dusk settled, I overheard a conversation confirming my fears. Passing the West Wing conference room, I heard Noah's voice carried through glass. She's unstable. Since she stormed back, she's erratic, passionate to the point of delusion. We should restructure the trust, plan for someone else. The other voice was clipped, professional, likely a board member. She pulled off Dubai under extreme pressure, it said. Noah scoffed. She got lucky. We can't run on luck. My blood ran cold, not from fear, but from the icy precision of his sabotage. I turned and walked away, heart pounding. I needed more than gossip. I needed official reckoning. The next morning at 9:00 a.m., Papa's assistant summoned me to the war room, an old library turned audit center. Walls lined with binders, monitors glowing with metadata, a whiteboard covered in timelines. Cal stood beside 2 auditors. I took a seat at the long table. David, the lead auditor, nodded. Lena, thank you for coming. We'd like to discuss irregularities. He tapped a file, an email that appeared from me, criticizing an Abu Dhabi partner. Sent from the workstation in Papa's office, David said. Your credentials entered manually, no signs of hacking. I folded my arms. I reported it immediately. He clicked to the next item, altered spreadsheets showing inflated costs, all from that same workstation. Someone copied your login to modify documents. We found more. Emails, Invoices, same pattern. The room felt stuffy. What else? I asked. Multiple login attempts tied to Noah's assistant's credentials, all linked to irregularities targeting you, David said. It's coordinated. I clenched my jaw. So what happens now? He hesitated. Papa wants the full report to the family council. He insisted you be present. I met his gaze. I'll be there. If this surfaces, I want to look everyone in the eye. He nodded. That evening, sleep eluded me again. I remembered colleagues who'd quietly left, rising talents who vanished. I thought it was normal turnover. Now I knew they'd been pushed out. I buried myself in files, determined to hold everyone accountable. The next morning, I arrived early at the estate's council chamber, repurposed for the hearing. The room was vast, with a long mahogany table and high-backed chairs. Papa sat at the head, eyes fixed out the window. David and 2 auditors entered with laptops and binders. 10 minutes late, Noah strolled in, confident, phone in hand. He froze when he saw me seated beside Papa. She's not on the committee, he muttered. Papa didn't respond. Noah cleared his throat. This is supposed to be confidential. Then don't have used family resources to forge emails, I replied, voice calm but sharp. Noah sneered. That's ridiculous. David took over. We traced login attempts to your assistant's credentials. Emails, altered files, unauthorized invoices. Timeline is clear. Noah's face flickered. You're reaching. She's just bitter. I looked him squarely, in the eye. You didn't dismiss me, Noah. You sabotaged me and nearly tanked our biggest deal. Papa rose, voice low but firm. I gave you chance after chance. You've done nothing but tear down those who build. The evidence is too damning. A heavy silence followed. Papa stood. The council will review this, but effective immediately, you are suspended from family business activities. Noah opened his mouth, then snapped it shut. He glanced at me with disbelief, as if realizing none of his tricks would save him. He walked out, shoulders slumped. I remained seated as Papa exhaled. I failed you, he whispered. I rose, placing a hand on his arm. You still have a choice. You can build something better. He met my gaze and nodded slowly. I felt the weight start to lift. 2 weeks passed since the hearing. Noah had not returned. The board moved swiftly. His actions were deemed breaches of trust and ethics. His suspension became termination. No public scandal, handled quietly. Yet word spread. On the surface, life resumed. Staff joked in kitchens, chauffeurs ran errands, gardens bloomed. Below, a current of wariness remained. Late one afternoon, Papa summoned me to his study. He remained standing, a folder in hand. Lena, he said softly. I've thought about everything. You've endured more than most. I want you to lead our global initiatives, not just Dubai, but all new ventures. Director of International Operations, reporting directly to me. My breath caught. I opened the letterhead. My name as director. I didn't ask for this, I whispered. He smiled gently, eyes moist. That's why you deserve it. You never asked, yet you proved your worth. If you accept, I want your vision to reshape how we operate. Transparency, respect, accountability. I paused, heart full. 11 years. I'd walked these halls unseen. Now the door was open. I looked at Papa. I accept, but I want guarantees. Anonymous reporting, clear communication, zero tolerance for sabotage. He nodded, relief evident. That evening, I walked the empty estate corridors, reflecting. I'd thought silence kept peace, but it nearly cost me everything. It wasn't just a deal or title. It was remembering that competence is not arrogance, and professionalism is not weakness. I had been underestimated, dismissed, sabotaged, yet I never allowed defeat. By week's end, I began reshaping the department, reopening communication, reinstating unfairly ousted staff, creating an anonymous hotline. I scheduled a town hall meeting for all employees, many of whom had witnessed Noah's games. I prepared to speak candidly. My story wasn't a lecture, but a roadmap. Document your work, stand firm, and know your worth. As for Noah, last I heard, he was rebuilding his reputation in another city. Some say Papa pulled strings to protect the family's name, a final act of mercy. I never asked, and I never needed to. One afternoon, I paused before a framed photo of the Dubai skyline our team had helped create. I thought back to that first moment in the kitchen when I smiled and walked away as Noah sneered. That was the real turning point, not because I gave up, but because I knew my worth and refused to let anyone say otherwise. And with that, I stepped forward, ready to build, not just business deals, but a legacy founded on respect and accountability. For the first time in years, I felt I could finally breathe.